Hey, my creative friends. I'm Shannon from Shannon Studio, and we are here to talk about creativity, having a creative life, and all the aspects of our life that creativity might lend itself to. So, and this month is the love month, so we've been talking about, we're talking about marriage. So we're talking about marriage until Valentine's Day. And so we've just hit some different topics, maybe thrown out some different ideas. I'm getting some different ideas from you, and so we can kind of just like make our marriages really good, really good. Hey, Trisha, I see you. So today I just got off my last call with my Flourish peer group, and visiting with them monthly, and it was so good. And I think we wished we could have done it longer, but all of us are just so busy and just really pushing hard for business. And it's really hard to do a business when you're a woman. And I'm talking about particularly from my point of view, because I'm doing it by myself, at home, online, and still being a mom. So add those things together, and it makes a really not totally unique experience in itself, but a unique experience in that there's the basic, try to spit it out. Most of the material out there that you learn from is not using that kind of model. It's using a model of you get a babysitter for the kids, or you go, or it's predominantly from a male point of view, then they're not really worried about taking care of kids. And so all those things that we do as moms aren't factored in when they're talking about business. And so you have to go searching for those examples and searching for those questions to be answered by other people who either experience themselves or know enough about it from researching that particular group of people, us, that they would be able to help with answering. So that's a tough thing. So when you can get together with peers who are in the same situation as you are and be able to talk, it's really, really good. So I really enjoyed that group, and hope to be able to have some groups. And I've had a group in the past that I was part of, loved that group. And I think it's just, when you can't pay for a coach, I think that's a good way to go. And I don't know that I can or can't pay for a coach. I haven't ever really, a business coach, I haven't really tried. And that's what I think I might that's what I might look for. So if anybody out there knows of a good business coach that works with this kind of situation, stay-at-home mom doing it by herself, that would, be able to help with that kind of thing, send me a name. So, hey, Rose. So, okay, we're talking about marriage. You really can't talk about marriage without talking about intimacy and sex. So you really can't, you can't talk about marriage without addressing that. So, and really what really brought it up to me was, there was a gal here having lunch with me, and we were discussing relationships. She'd just gotten out of a relationship, and it was really hurtful to her, and she's just going through the process and talking and looking at relationships. And she knew Alan and I had been married for 37 years. And, part of being in a relationship is you miss that physicality that you have with that other person. And so she just asked out. She goes, "Well, isn't sex boring?" And I explained, no, not really boring. And then and I explained, and then she was like, come on, 37 years, isn't it boring? And I was like, no. And I went more in depth with her about it. It's not boring. I said that's a myth. I think that's a myth because most people don't have long-term relationships. Most people believe what they're told about long relationships, and I think sometimes people don't invest enough time and energy into the relationship to make it different. Because, like we talked about, the honeymoon high is real. You come down from that unless you know you're coming down from that, unless you know you've got to step up and make up for that ground. you're going to think, oh, I'm just falling out of love. Same with these things. Here's a quote, and I didn't write down where I got the quote from. Isn't that good? I think, emotional first aid. It doesn't have his name on there. Emotional wise guys. This is so bad, wise guy. It's not his name. It's, what is it? Guy Winch. Winch. W-I-N-C-H. Dr. Guy. Oh, I murdered that name. Okay, so here's a quote that he has. He says, we crave the feeling of desire. A desire to desire. We easily become bored once the object of our desire becomes familiar. Desire motivates our actions and inspires us to achieve things, but the fulfillment of our desire often leads us with a feeling of emptiness, as the anticipatory state we experience before obtaining the object of a desire evaporates. So, okay, if you have a honeymoon high, come down from that, and then you get the object of your desire and you start to know a lot about them, and they're around all the time, and you know, our minds, this is what we do. We desire something, we get it, we don't desire it as much anymore. Just the nature of it. And then then people are experiencing that feeling, well, I don't desire them anymore. I must not love them. I must not be in love with them anymore. There must be the relationship's no good anymore. And I think that's a shame. I really think it's a shame, because these two people, you go in being crazy in love with each other. And I feel, well, I know it can last. Hello, I was going to say, I feel like it can last. Well, no, I know it can last. But it requires a different mindset in order to achieve that, to overcome those things. So by knowing those things are coming, then you can anticipate that you have to make up the difference. So you have to do things differently. And this is where creativity comes in. You can be creative ways to reignite and to make opportunities for that to be interesting and desirable again. So the other quote I had was from Bruce Feller. The problem as you grow older is, how do you let somebody close who's basically a total stranger? So he was talking about how do you when you start to grow up from your family, and then how do we become close to a stranger? So he said nature came up with a trick. It's called attraction. Sexual attraction brings down all the barriers, lets you get close to a new person in a physical way. So that's, we get drawn to each other. We have those hormones going, everything's going, and it's this like igniting thing. Then we have the honeymoon high. Then we start to go downhill. And it's not really downhill per se unless we let it continue to be that way. We just have to change our thinking and change the way we do things. And like I said in the other video, we have to earn it. We have to earn the relationship. We've been given a gift to see how great it can be. So now it's in your court, and let's see if you can work to keep it. And he goes on to say, over time, of course, physical attraction wanes. That's because the object of our desire, we get it. So, but he takes a different viewpoint of this. While many bemoan this loss of titillation, Dr. Levine celebrates it, saying it's smart. If you're going to be crazy about the other person all the time, how are you going to raise kids? How are you going to be able to go to work? And I just have to laugh. Because it's true. It's true. Like Alan and I'm like, oh, I don't want you to go to work today. I want to be with you. I mean, because we don't get to see each other that much. And I was like, oh, in the morning sometimes I just want to stay here all day with you. It's just like, and if we didn't have a long-term stable relationship where we've learned what it means if you don't go to work, we wouldn't do anything else. Same with having, after you've had intercourse, we can say this, we're grown ups. After you've had intercourse, there has to be a resolution. Your physical body has to go through resolution, meaning it's run its course sexually, and then you have to your body has to go through and like rest up and for so you to continue to do it again if you wanted to. So that's called a resolution. There has to be a resolution. And oftentimes Alan said, that's a really good thing, because all people would do all day is stay in bed and, have fun all day long. So there's processes in our lives to help us have that achievement of having this great sexual relationship, but then also going, okay, you can't do this all the time. It's great, but you can't do it all the time. You got to go to work. You got to feed the kids. You got to do other things. So he says, let's see what else he says in this. Instead of complaining, we should view this new phase as an achievement. Okay, now I have this person I'm attached to. I have a feeling of security. That's what allows me to be an individual again and self-actualize. So that's just a real interesting viewpoint too. And, so I think you've taken that viewpoint that's part of the process so that you can actually not be in that state forever, because it's an unproductive state as far as getting life done. So then you have to realize that the whole idea of becoming one, and to me, it starts way before you enter the bedroom. That's the bottom line. If there's no trust, if there's no intimacy, if there's no uniting of your feelings, of your thoughts, and I don't mean you have to be like little robots and have every single thing the same and one person dominates the other, and you have to come together with like a couple vision we talked about already, and these things that have to be talked about and learned and earned outside of the bedroom. Because whatever's happening outside of the bedroom, I can tell you that's walking right inside the bedroom with you. So if you've got rain clouds over you, that's walking in and watering down the whole thing. If you've got sunshine, on your relationship, walking inside, that's what you're going to get. And the natural processes that happen in our relationship are only an invitation for us to go, okay, this is what it is, so this is how we can do things different. So you guys will have thoughts about what you do in order to not have a boring relationship. Monogamy long term, and I explained this to her, I said, for one thing, a monogamous relationship, there is so much trust, and there is so much openness, vulnerability, all those things that bring you closer. And I said, I know for sure that if I went out and got a lover, I would not be able to say even half of what I say to Alan to this stranger. I mean, yeah, we could physically go through the motions, but we couldn't have what we have. So when you have an intimacy that is nurtured and grown over years, and there's shared experiences that are amazing, that builds up a relationship that enhances what goes on in the bedroom. And people who don't have monogamous relationships can't understand that. Just like I can't understand going and having, numerous partners. So let's see. There's a few things that I came up with that I think are helpful to making your intimacy and your sexual relationship a little bit better. Now, there's books on this, there's counselors to talk to, and yes, so one is to keep your head in the game, know these things are coming and keep your head in the game. This is there's two of you. You two are the ones responsible for the relationship. I am responsible for this relationship. He is. If I feel like something should happen or feel like something should be discussed, then dang it, I better step up and talk about it. Somebody's got to bring it up if it's a problem. And then if it's not a problem, then you both need to continue to nurture it. So keep your head in the game by simply knowing some of these other things are going to happen, that you're going to, your desire is going to evaporate, or you're going to, it's going to just wane, that sort of thing. These things are coming. So do something about it. And if if you've gone through a lull, bring it together and start to reignite it again. So that's one thing I thought of. The other thing, keep yourself interesting. Keep yourself interesting. Learn new things, gain some new insights, passions, something you can talk about, and all, because sometimes Alan will say things and I'm like, wow, I just see him in a new light. And I'm like, I didn't know he thought that, or that's interesting. I find him interesting. And so it makes him desirable. It's like that, the desire kicks in, and it's just like this moving, living relationship. So make yourself interesting. Now, we have to have routines, we have to have habits, but they're basically usually boring. That's the idea of a routine. But that doesn't mean you need to be routine as a person. You're a person. You don't need to be routine. So you cannot be the same old thing. You have to bring it and be interesting. And that could be any way you want. I mean, it's not like it's prescribed. You can only be interesting by, I won't even go there. You can be interesting in all kinds of ways. The third I thought of was bring energy into the relationship. So bring energy and excitement. There's nothing worse if you come in excited to see somebody and they don't see somebody and they don't want to see you. Acknowledge them, be excited they're there. Bring energy into your relationship. And creativity, being a creative person, it meets so many needs and it fulfills you in so many ways. Go to my website, shannonstudio.com. Right underneath the homepage or the welcome is a drop-down list that says the benefits of creativity. There's a whole list, and that's not even close to what it all entails. But there are so many things about your mood and being different, just all kinds of things. Being creative on your own, by yourself, or with people, just you participating in the act of being creative makes you a different person and has you bring different mood, a different attitude, confidence, different things into that relationship. So that's why, being creative, why I can tie in intimacy and sex within creativity, because being that kind of person makes you feel alive. And you feeling alive are going to be a different person in your relationship than you are otherwise. And so, yes. So those are my few tips. Now, I know there are more tips. So bring it on in the comments and bring us some tips. Because there might be people struggling out there, even and not realizing that there's different ways to look at things, different ways to look at a relationship, and to build that intimacy, becoming one. Because if you can become one outside of the bedroom, it's more likely you're going to become one inside the bedroom. So that's the tip. I don't know what I'm going to name the tip. I haven't really thought of that, but you get the idea. To be able to bring that level of intimacy into your relationship, because a marriage relationship, that is one of the unique things about a marriage relationship. You don't have that sexual intimacy with anybody else. I'm hoping, if that it really should be that exclusive thing that just makes that person invaluable to you. Invaluable. Alan is invaluable to me in so many ways. And yeah, sex doesn't have to be boring after 37 years of marriage. There you have it. So tell me your thoughts. And I will be here tomorrow. So in the meantime, remember you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it, and I will see you. Bye.